Would you rather be outside in a beautiful day like today, grabbing some sunshine, maybe going laying down by the beach, or would you rather be in here hanging out with me? Nice warm shop, got the heater cranking. It's about 72, 73 degrees. And I got some stuff to work on. It's you haven't seen these videos come through yet. That's the actual wings. That's going to end up being a trilogy. Could be called the Wing Trilogy. It's about an hour worth of video of me tearing the covering off and going through the mess. You'll see in the video. I've got everything figured out how I want to reattach the ailerons. That'll be covered at the end of the trilogy on the third video. So I'm just at this point in time I'm waiting for the wood. I've got to order in on wood from, I think it's called Balsa Model. They're out of Iowa, good company. So that's where I've been getting my stuff from since Lone Star Balsa decided to burn to the ground. I had a little thing on the last video number 2 coming through on the gear. It's the actual triangular part of the gear. This part right in here, this part right here, is actually I'm going to take them apart and weld them. But I think that these are rebrazed them. I think this side and this side are identical. The problem the guy actually has, or whoever put it together, I don't know if you should be able to see it from this angle. The angle he actually brazed in here is not as sharp as the angle he brazed in here. So it's I wish I had a good place to set it up. I can set it up later on in the video when I do the teardown on this one. One actual landing gear wheel is sitting 1 inch higher than the other side because of that angle. So if this triangular part here is the same, so if this part and this part's the same, it's just going to be a matter of coming in, and I have to make a decision on which side. It'll probably be this side. Just come on in, cut the. I don't have to cut the braze all the way through. Just cut it down enough to bring it out to the same angle, and then go ahead and rebraze it, and then that part will be set. So there's a couple different ways I was gonna put this back together again. This square part where it attaches to the bottom of the fuselage, this is going to be replaced with some aluminum channel and possibly some L stock. And then I've got to try to figure out how I want to set this up. That's for the actual for the wing struts, for the mounting points, because it's got to be a good mounting point. So on the fuselage itself, that I had to move out of the shop and put upstairs, just to make room in the shop. And I'll show you when the time comes. I'm actually going to have to reinforce the bottom of the fuselage where this attached, because this actually came in from the side of the fuselage, and mine is going to actually attach to the bottom. So I'll just I'll actually put some reinforcement on the bottom just so I've got some good points to put in, because the whole tube stock, that's going away. I think it's just going to be small little pieces of aluminum U-channel, probably about 2.5 inches long, with at least 2 mounting bolts going through it, and then it's going to kind of look like this on the end, where I should be able to just run this through. So everything should technically still be the same, hopefully. So anyway, all right, let me get the camera set up on the old tripod and get to work. So I think I'm going to jump on in on the horizontal, excuse me, not the horizontal stabilizer, that's fine. I'll jump on in and do a little bit of repair on the rudder, and then come on in and figure out what I want to do with this. I do have some 3/8 inch stock. I just have to figure out how I want to put this together. If I want to replace this part, which I probably will, how I'm going to do it, I'm going to probably end up putting another very long scarf joint in it, and then reinforcing where the scarf joint goes in. I was going to fix this with a broken part with some actual it's almost like a flat carbon fiber. Just put a groove in it and set it down inside, but I just think that with the way this is, it's going to be too weak of a joint. So it'd be better off if I just went ahead and just put this in and then ran it out, and then if I want to actually come in and stiffen this up, I can go ahead and do it. But I think if it's a good long enough scarf joint, I should not have a problem there. So that's probably what I'm going to tackle today, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll put you up on the stand, and we'll start videotaping. Videotaping? It's not videotape, it's just recording. Alright, I am going to cut a joint, scarf joint. I've got the pieces of wood clamped together, so that way I at least keep the same angle. This is going to be the fun part. See if I've got enough room to clamp this down as well, and I think I do. Question is, can I get close enough to do it right? That'd be an absolute no. We still have another chance. If I could remember where I put it, I'd make C-clamp. Unfortunately, I don't think the C-clamp's going to work either. Let me go ahead and rotate this. I'll make it work. Had I actually rotated it the first time, I wouldn't have to go through this. So anyway, we're always learning. I want quite a steep angle on that to actually elongate the actual joint itself where it's going to be glued together. Alright. Use my Zona. Hopefully it'll give me a good cut. That piece, there it is, that piece is gone. This will be the new end. So that will actually come in, get lined up and glued into place, and I'll make sure it's straight. Let me see if I can get a better view for, there we go. Now what that cut just did, let me make sure I don't get in the light, is that when we actually get everything lined up and glued together, you can pretty much see, if I can see it, there it is. There's no gap between those pieces, so when it's all glued together, that's as tight a gap as you can get. So what I'll do is I'll get a straight edge clamped on here and run it down through, go ahead and glue that into place, and then I'll cut it to whatever length it needs to be at. So excuse me, let me put you back up in the tripod and watch the awesome glue job. Sorry about that, it turned you off. Alright, go ahead and I will mix up some epoxy. there's different things you can mix up your actual epoxy in. Some people use little mixing cups. I normally just use old magazines, little notepads, anything that, because all you're pretty much doing is just going to mix it and then throw it away. So that's why I don't spend the money on little mixing cups, because all you're doing is just throwing it away. Some of the mixing cups you can actually flex it and get the piece to pop out, but that only works a couple times. I just soon, like I said, do it on a magazine. I'm actually going to throw a little bit of micro balloons in there, just because it is light, but it actually sands easy. And then to keep it as strong as possible, there's some more of mine. If I rotate it right, that's my actual milled fiberglass. Put it on a piece of wax paper so I don't actually glue the aileron, or excuse me, the aileron, yeah, glue the elevator to the tabletop, because that would not be good, wouldn't be good at all. Alright, now let me find something that I can actually glue it to keep it straight and not be too concerned about. What I'm using is a piece of, it's heavy balsa. It's a piece of 3/8 balsa. It will keep it straight, and I'll just sacrifice probably 4 inches of it on the glue joint, just to make sure that it will be glued straight. Alright, throw some epoxy on it. I'm certainly not worried about squeeze out on this. Pretty darn straight to me. Alright, well that's setting up. I have more epoxy sitting here waiting to go. Go ahead and throw some and get this rudder rebuttoned back up again. I can get it in here. What I'm actually going to do is go ahead and fillet in a corner. We can go ahead and let this harden up all the way before it, should say, get it pushed into the slot before it starts to set. This is 5-minute epoxy back here that I'm using, and yes, I'm using 5-minute epoxy on that as well, but that can actually be reinforced behind the glue joint. I just want to make sure that this is actually well glued. Because once it's covered, you're not going to see it again. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Alright, it's glued in. I actually did was where it was starting to delaminate there. I just went ahead and just floated into the delamination spot, so that's sealed up. That won't pop apart again. There's the there's my little fillets, my little fillets that I put there, and then I also put one right in there as well, and then up on the top, not that one there, that one right there. Like I said, it's not pretty, but once it's covered, you won't see it, and it'll work quite well. So once that's set up, I want to make sure this is still lined up nicely, and that's starting to set. So that just needs to sit like that for about a half hour before it's pretty rock solid. So I'm going to go ahead. I will pause video, and I'll bring you back when it's set up enough to go ahead and rejoin it up with the other part.